it's those things you just said. So I'm here to tell you a very personal story, but also to offer you an invite, really, to an opportunity that I think could, for some of you, have a really profound impact and, you know, I believe, life-changing. The personal story is maybe a little bit self-indulging, but it's about me, really. And on the left-hand side over there is me. I'm that skinny, sort of 16, 17-year-old, probably some of you play rugby. I'm that guy there. I was fly half when I played, and the guy above me to the right was my dad, past tense. On the left-hand side is me, my brother, and my dad, so the three Mr. Waleses, and that's us in South Africa about to play golf. The personal story goes that I feel really fortunate in life that I had 3 decades, I was 30 when my dad died, I had 3 decades of sort of having that coach, dad, all of the above, you know, he was fantastic, so I feel very fortunate. The less fortunate side of the story is that we're in South Africa because my dad decided that he and my mum were going to live there for 6 months of the year. He sat down with me and my brother and he said, "Look, boys," as he called us, "we're going to go 6 months there and then we're going to live in Norfolk for 6 months of the year. We're never going to see winter again. What do you think?" Wow, amazing. He was 54 years old at that point, and he worked in finance, and he sort of sat down and he worked out he needed to work 1 more year just to be a little bit more financially comfortable in their retirement. So he took us over to South Africa and he said, "This is where we're going to live, just outside Cape Town." Obviously we played golf and did those sorts of things. As part of his sort of oncoming retirement, he had a medical, like an MOT medical, and they checked him out and they found that his blood pressure was really high. So he tried to get it down, wouldn't go down, went in for some further scans, they found shadows, quite a lot of shadows over his body. Now, if any of you have ever been affected by cancer or you have family or friends, when you hear shadows, that's not good news. And he had bowel cancer and the shadows had spread across his body and he was dead within a matter of weeks. He didn't receive any treatment. He never retired, or no, that's not quite true. He did retire. I think the day before he died would have been his first day of retirement. Where it got more painful, I suppose, it's almost like life's sixth sense of humour. I was due to get married when my dad died, and he was going to be the best man at my wedding. So on my stag do 2 weeks before my wedding was the Saturday that my dad died. So I got a phone call that morning saying, "Your dad's not going to make the rest of the day. Do you want to come and see that happen, or do you want to stay on your stag do?" 2 weeks later, or the week before, I spoke at my dad's funeral. The week after, I got married to absent friends and all of that, if you've been to a wedding. So my life as I knew it just, I don't know, just destroyed really. And grief hit me like a sledgehammer. One of the things I say when I do these assemblies and talks about a cancer charity, I know very little about cancer. I think the biggest impact it had on me, and remains on me, is grief. And oddly, last year was our 15th year of doing this. This is the first year that I've been able to get those words out that I've just said without breaking down. I went a little bit there. I don't know, you don't know me well enough to see that I went a little bit, but I couldn't get through that. So it's taken me a decade and a half, maybe, to deal with that grief. I don't know. I don't understand it. I'm working through it. But the major thing I want to talk to you about, and this is one of the things that I believe as a human being now, is that there's opportunities in absolutely everything. No matter how difficult the things are, there is opportunity, and you always learn and you always can grow from it if you handle it in the right way. I set out in 2009, as a lot of people do when they lose someone they care about, they do a memorial something or other. So we set out to do this memorial walk down in Dorset, and I spoke to a lot of students like you at the time. I worked at Ely College. I was a PE teacher, and my A-level students came down with me, and my GCSE students came down with me. 30ths went down, and we went for this walk down the Jurassic Coast, and it was mind-blowing. I mean, mind-blowing. And that's the story and where the invite comes. So behind me, I suppose, are the boring things that you'd find about our charity. If you went onto the charity commission, that's who we are, that's what we do. But this is what I am and what we really do. We offer opportunities to young people like you. We introduce you to charity. I'm sure at your age, many of you are already doing those sorts of things. But we offer you the opportunity to take part in something that, I don't know, it will change you for the better, I promise you of that. But also, changing, I've done this to other year groups. As sixth formers, you're going to go on to fill in your UCAS forms, you're going to go to start getting job interviews. And I remember when I was trying to write a reference for a student that I taught from year 7 all the way through to year 13. And all he'd done, he's a great lad, I really liked him a lot, but all he'd done is gone to school, gone to his lessons, studied, that was it. I had nothing to say about him. He was a good lad, and he went to his lessons like everybody else. Where this becomes powerful is it hooks people in, and people really get involved. And when you take on something like I'm going to describe, and you do that, it's something you're able to talk about, and it's also something that will retune your brain. And if you get into it, and I believe this as a human being, helping other people and doing good things is addictive. Selfishly, it makes you feel absolutely amazing. So what am I talking about? That charity, some nice stories there. I've said this all week. The bottom left there are some year 10 students that I took. So we raised money for children's cancer. I took some year 10 students into Addenbrooke's Hospital, which is near Cambridge, which is one of the biggest sort of children's cancer wards in the east of England. And we took in some iPads because we'd raised a little bit of money, I don't know what really, 2 or 3 years in, something like that. And we took these iPads in. As I said, we walked, if parents standing around the outside of the room, hopefully you haven't had this experience, but imagine it, I'd just become a parent myself. You open these doors, you walk down this corridor, a bit like this really, you go through those doors at the end, and there are a load of children with cancer and their parents standing around them and people nursing them. And we went in to take some iPads in, and honestly, we were practically ready, I suppose, because we had the physical iPads. But when you go in and you see this thing playing out in front of you, it blew our minds. We came out, we sat down, and I said, we better have a bit of I'm going now, you can probably hear my voice. We had this debrief where we tried to talk about what we just experienced, and no one could speak. It was so emotional. From that, we've grown and gone crazy, and so many people get involved, and we now sponsor loads and loads of different things: counselling, bereavement, research, wishes. There's a retreat we help fund there, and now where we've gone and where we're different from other charities is we're not cancer research where you raise your £1,000 or whatever and you send it off into the ether and you don't know where that's gone. What we do is we involve people in the fundraising, so you physically do it. We try really hard so you know exactly where it went, to who it went, individuals, but also sometimes you can see some of the things. So this is our biggest and best thing so far. In 2019, we went into the Woodlands Garden, which is Hinchinbrook Hospital, a cancer ward in Huntingdon. On the left-hand side, that is what it looked like. So if you are in the Woodlands, if you've ever been there, I hope you haven't. If you're in there because you've got cancer or someone you care about has got cancer. And when you're sat in this really nicely done Macmillan ward, big glass windows, you looked out the window at that. And when you're in there and you're contemplating the things that you're contemplating, it felt horrendous that you're looking outside at a fallen down fence and weeds. So I went in and said to the chief exec, can our charity come in and change this for the better? And I fully expected him to say, no, the fun police say, no way can you come in here, no way can students, children come and help. But he said, yes, that can happen. So we went in and we did that. And it is, I mean, the feedback we get about the impact that has on people so that they can go outside and sit in that and contemplate the things they do is amazing. Fast forward a couple of years, this is where I am literally now. We've just fundraised for this. So where those white cars are, there's going to be a lodge that looks something like this. Where that grass is looking that way, that's where the lodge will be. That's a respite lodge, and what that's going to be is it's going to be for families or anyone, I suppose, really affected by cancer, where they can get away from the hassles, the stresses and all of the above, go there for free and have some time out. It's our biggest, our most expensive, our most exciting thing ever. It's actually at the planners at the moment, so I'm expecting any second now that to come through, and then that's bought and that's done. The cool thing about that is I think that's going to cost us somewhere near £100,000. It's cost me £0. I'm not standing here saying I've spent a huge amount of money on it. Where that money's come from are people like you, people who go on the walk and the people who take part in the 10 hours of sports and all the other things. They walk, and as they're walking, hopefully healthy people, they're raising money for children and other people who aren't, who are less fortunate than themselves. Now, if you have done that as a human being, I assure you that makes you a pretty decent person, and you're deservedly proud of yourself. So, the invite. that's what the Dorset Walk looks like, I suppose, last year. So what we do is, I'll try and explain the best I can. We walk for 3 days. We camp. That's a necessary evil. I'm not a camping fan. I moan about it for pretty much 5 straight days. But we walk for 40 miles along the Jurassic coastline. If you are a geographer, or if you guess you all have studied geography, we walk past Durdle Door, Lulworth Cove, and all those sorts of places. I think it's the most beautiful coastline in the country. We walk along there. Each day we wear a different colour t-shirt, and we walk together. So if those of you that will say yes, which will be, I don't know, how many are in here?
Just shy of, 380?
380. Maybe 15 of you will say yes, probably. That's about the number. So a small proportion of you will say, yeah, I'm in, and you'll be stood there. The rest of you will feel barriers and not sure where that is, and that sounds a bit far away, or wherever it might be. But 15 of you will be stood there next year alongside not quite 400, 360, 70 other people from different schools making a difference. So it works like this. There are limited places. Very limited places. Every time I talk to Miss Kavanagh, it changes. There is a coach that's available for AMVC, 2/3 full maybe already, something like that, depending on what the other year groups do. But there are spaces for you. We do walk 40 miles over 3 days. You don't carry your stuff. We stay at the same campsite, and we have I started calling it like a mini Glastonbury thing. So I've got loads of marquees and stuff, and some of the smart things that have happened there is the guy. Again, staff will appreciate this. The guy who was an 11-year-old when I taught him in year 7, my first year of teaching, became a chef. He now comes down every year and cooks for everybody. 3 of my trustees are ex-students. So we're old, us teachers, and you guys get older. They come down and help make it happen. Perfect. They are some of those people. So that was us in 2009. That's me fresh-faced and however old I was. That's where we started at Ely College the first year. That was Ken Stimson, year 1. COVID was in there somewhere and messed it up. That was us last year. At the bottom there, a bit that I like the most, I think I do like it the most if I'm honest, are my 3 boys. They walk it with me, so 2 little ones and the slightly bigger one, teenager, year 9. They come take part. The campsite you can see in the background is what it looks like. It kind of goes, I don't know, a huge amount of distance that way, and each school has its own little camping area. That's what it looks like, and I get real pleasure showing people this, and it doesn't do it justice. And when I worked at Ely, it was flatter than Peterborough, if that's even possible. And when you go down there, it blows people's mind about what the landscape's like, and it truly is as steep as that one on the left there. You are literally going vertically down, and people are terrified about slipping, and then you go straight back up the other side. Lulworth Cove, Durdle Door, is just the other side of that lump, or that probably is Durdle Door. It gives you an idea of some of the terrain. Staff around the outside, again, every time I talk to you, there's more people involved. We need staff to come down to help manage students, I suppose, to support, to walk. I should have said this, we also need people to come who won't walk, because the logistics of taking a small army down to Dorset is pretty challenging, so we need people who just come and don't walk. That's some of the teachers that came. The guys in the middle, the three lads in the middle, they're staff from Ken Stimson. They drove down Friday night and drove back Sunday night just to be participants, because it was something they wanted to get involved with. At the end of the walk, this is Studland Beach. When we get there, everybody stops and we wait, and we have a sprint finish. So everybody's just walked 40 miles together. We've worn different t-shirts. Each day we've camped on the same campsite, gone through the same sort of difficulties. Day 2 of the walk, not everyone, a lot of people start crying because they realise that it is extremely physically demanding. They get to the bottom of a big drop and they look up and say, have we got to go up there? Yes, we do. I can't go on. Fine, we'll leave you here then, because there's no way out. There is no one coming to get you. You go back up that hill or you go forward up that hill. And what happens is people realise that being outside your comfort zone just feels a little bit uncomfortable. And you actually, wherever you've set your limits, they are so low, and you go beyond that. And truly what happens on day 3 is people with sore feet get used to it, blisters, they walk through them, and they start to realise what is achievable when they put their minds to it, and they grow, they're taller, it's crazy what happens. And by the time you get to that point, and if you've stood there and experienced that, having done the sprint finish, it is a feeling of, euphoria, I promise you, you won't have felt before. It is something else. Now, there's a bit of blackmail selling there, maybe, so I will add this bit because you're slightly older. We finish at Studland, and if anyone's been down to the South West Coastal Path Walk, it's 630 miles. It goes from sort of Devon right the right way around to the end of Dorset. The other mile that way is the nudist beach. So we decided that we would finish just before the nudist beach, because when I tell the story of my dad dying of cancer and how horrendous it is, and everyone's really proud of themselves, look at those naked middle-aged people, we didn't feel that necessarily was quite in keeping. So we decided we'd finish at Studland just before the nudist beach. So if you see your teachers continue to walk, you know where they're going. This is some of my favourite, well, probably one of my favourite pictures actually to date. Those horribly grown-up adults are in their late 20s, 30s now. They were those students, in 2009, that came along and took part in it. Our 15th walk was last year, and they came back to do it again for their 5th, 6th time, which was just incredible and meant so much to me personally. We go in British summertime, which means you need to prepare for all seasons and beyond. That was 2 years ago where Dorset was underwater. It was insane. These are some of the smart stuff, and I put this last-ish because, I don't know, this is just facts really. Last year we went past £500,000, which, I mean, I love saying, it sounds a bit brag-like maybe, but it just isn't, because you guys do all this fundraising. The walk is now raising over 65,000. It's going to be bigger this year. If you guys come and we get to 400, that will jump to 80, 90,000, all of which goes to cancer causes. We don't pay anybody. It is 100% profit. I'll skip through that because you don't do that. Just conscious of time. So I'll circle back to where I started really. I feel so proud to be able to stand up and sort of deliver this assembly, I suppose, and talk about the 15 years that I've been doing this and we've been doing this, and the number of people I've hoovered up. And I say at every assembly I do now, I wish I could stand here and take a photo, because I don't know which one of you will say yes. And I don't know, 5, 10 years down the line, some of you maybe will still be going. And it's really exciting for Arthur Mellows and for me to stand here and say, this is about to impact on a load of you. It is an astonishingly good thing. The hardest thing that I find is, why is the Dorset Walk so good? I can't put it into words, because what you do is you drive down there, you camp, you walk, you camp, you walk, you camp, you walk, and you come home. But I mean, I'm not religious, I'm not spiritual, but there really is something spiritual about this. It hooks you. And I said to Miss, and I say to everyone, once your feet touch that path, you change, and change for the better. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's more than 15 of you. I look forward to you hopefully seeing some of you there. I promise you'll enjoy it. I hope the weather plays nice. That's the only bit that I can't control. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.